Yo, what's going on, y'all? So that was a pretty freaking hefty NGS headline wave, if I must say so myself. Of course, per usual, we're not going to just go over every single thing, but I do want to dive into some key points. There's a lot of key points to hop in here because April's going to be pretty freaking crazy. So let's definitely do that. First and foremost, I do want to say, Hasegawa did a great job here, starting off with this new edition of NGS Wave. And y'all may have not noticed this, but I thought this was actually very smart on their end. As you can see here, she's wearing merchandise. This was actually very smart. Of course, I notice things like this. I'm a business guy, so I went to college for all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I see all these things, these marketing things, all these tactics. But nonetheless, this is something that could very easily be overlooked, but would still register in the eyes of the consumer. And this was actually very smart that now they're wearing their own merchandise in this NGS headline wave segment. So this is smart for selling your product as well. This is very, very smart on their end. But nonetheless, first be sure to like and subscribe. It helps out tremendously. Thank you very much. So today was the first edition of the NGS headline wave, and there's some really key points to really address here. Of course, April is going to be filled with lots of things. We already knew that the Braver update was coming in April. Of course, we already knew that. But there are some things that we did not expect to appear. And so let's go over that. Of course, we have these new weapons that everyone's talking about. There's all these EX augments. There's so many different things that we really need to kind of just dive in here. So let's do so. First, talking about these EX augments. These EX augments are a new addition here, and all these babies are freaking 5+%. And now if you're wondering, where do these babies come from? Well, they come from the new weapon series, one of the new weapon series, which is the Clearodym. Now, Clearodyms were specifically stated within the NGS headline that they will operate like Iridyms. So this means that they can be transferred over for free. Remember how Iridyms can transfer EX augments over for free? These are the same type of deal that we are dealing with here. So this is very good. This is very nice. This is very lovely. But as you can see here, these EX augments will be on the series. So there's a whole assortment of these augments, and they're all potency plus 5+. Now, of course, they all have different effects. And dude, honestly, these are effing crazy. Look at some of these, dude. I mean, look at that first one. It says PP consumption minus 20% on this thing for 20 seconds when PP is at 50% or lower. Like, bro, come on now. Come on now, dude. Like, these are freaking massive. These are great, And so obviously the potency plus 5+, 5 and above, is obviously huge in the first place. And considering that these are EX augments, that means that these come in sets of 3, which means that now our freaking units are going to be heavy, Tevi, or well, not units for our weapons, are going to be heavy, Tevi with these EX augments on them. Because that's jumping from, from the 4.5 that we had previously on these babies to 5 and above across the board on 3 different augments potentially. So this is going to be pretty interesting. Of course, with the addition of these EX augments, there's going to be newer, well, there's going to be EX augments re-released, I guess, with this as well. So I guess you'll be able to find these combinations with some of these old EX augments and some of the new augments. So it's not like it just comes with the new EX augments, right? So it's not like every single Clearodym weapon is going to drop with 3 5+ potency augments, right? No, that's not the case. So there will be mix and match, and they'll drop as accordingly as they usually do. But these will become available on the 2nd, next week. Like, all this main stuff for April is going to be available at the start of the month. The Braver updates, these new weapons, LECIEL is also, which we'll go over, the Legendary Series weapons, all these things are going to be available. And of course, also for Braver as well, they're also receiving a new class skill that enhances their photon arts a certain number of times after Brave combat. This is all happening on the 2nd. So this is actually pretty nice, pretty dope, and we're looking forward to this. I will be playing around with Braver a little bit, Braver bow. Y'all can do whatever you want with katana. I don't care for katana, it's too easy to play. So we will try to bounce around with bow a little bit and maybe see what we can get with that. And now moving on to my sweet baby LECIEL, dude. LECIEL, of course, is coming, and LECIEL is called LECIEL Analysis Zone or something like that. So whereas, there's a previous one was the expiration hazard expiration survey or something. I don't remember what the hell it's called. But nonetheless, this version, so now we have some more details in this version. So in comparison to what we have in LECIEL right now, where everyone kind of can go separate ways and everyone gets different blocks and stuff like that, this one is a progression quest. So you will work together. So everyone will work together to progress through these blocks of each blocks. So you're staying together as a group, which is nice and it's different from the normal LECIEL. However, they did say that, you know, the older LECIEL will be still implemented. It will kind of rotate during intervals, not like every day or anything like that, but during intervals they say it will rotate. So after a certain amount of time with this one, then the older version will come back for a little bit or something like that. So that's what they said here. And the reasoning behind them changing this was because the old format could not really be further built upon. So they're future proofing here, is what they stated when discussing this later on in the headline during the notes. They stated that the reason why they made this adjustment is because it will be easier to build on in the future. There wasn't a whole lot of room to really build upon the current LECIEL system, exploration system. So they made this version so they completely revamped it. So that way it could be further built upon in the future. So that's something to look forward to moving into 2026, 2027, all the above. And then there's these legendary weapons. Now, legendary weapons are a new type of weapon here. And they did say that they will have at least one enhancement, one upgrade at least. They didn't say, if there would be more, but they said that there'd be at least one upgrade to the series. And so this is pretty much like a support type weapon. And kind of what they said as well is that moving on, pretty much weapons that are more support oriented will be classified as legendary weapons. So in all technical sense, with 12 kind of having support capabilities, 12, had it been released after this period, would probably be listed as a legendary type weapon, right? So that's from what they said. Pretty much legendary weapons will have support factors with it. But these legendary weapons are pretty neat because they take some of your old weapons and can be used to make these new legendary weapons. So this is actually very cool, very neat. Really adds to the people who have been gearing, who have been putting time into building things, building weapons, building all the above, playing the freaking game. Because now you get this benefit of having these types of weapons, which will boost yourself and your party members around you at the support areas and deal extra attacks as well to help benefit your entire team, your entire efficiency for the runs that you are doing. So this creates more options, and pretty much this creates horizontal options for the game. And that's pretty much, I kind of figured that maybe that's where they were going, because they kind of started trickling in horizontal elements for the game maybe about a year and a half ago or so. They started doing that. And once they reached 100 and I kind of saw the roadmap, and I saw that there wasn't going to be a level cap increase because they have been kind of steadily increasing. I kind of figured that maybe they would kind of go a more horizontal route, at least for a little bit. That appears to be the case here. They're kind of going this more horizontal-ish type route. But it's not fully horizontal, don't get me wrong. It's still definitely vertical. The design behind all of this is still definitely vertical regardless. But there's horizontal aspects to it. Forgot to mention here, but the new 12-star Pleurodum weapon series effects increase critical rate and damage resistance, reduce PP consumption to make enemies easier to down. So this is actually very big, very huge, and this really helps nicely too for working together with different weapons, because obviously the 12 gives the potency increase on downed enemies as well. So people having these different weapons really creates for a good synergy between individuals, between parties, between groups, to really maximize going at these enemies, going at these bosses, going at whatever the hell you're doing, because it's an MMORPG. You're supposed to work together. Each class has different abilities. Each weapon has different abilities. Each one has strengths and weaknesses. And they're all beautiful when they come together. That's how MMORPGs work. It's all about coming together. Like a big blob of flour and water and egg. And you're making like bread or something. It just comes to get. Anyways, so these legendary weapons look super interesting, look super dope, and we're definitely looking forward to these. Like I said, all this stuff is coming, hitting us dead smack in the face next week. So this is pretty exciting because it's all coming right here. And we all know LECIEL is my sweet baby Johnson. My sweet baby Johnson. So I'm definitely looking forward to the reworks with us. And, I'm always loving the different options and means to gearing. That's always huge for me. Always. And then we want to move on to these new improvements, pretty much like QoL type stuff for the game. These might seem small, but these are actually very big, and they really help out, quite frankly, to prevent mistakes happening. So as you can see here, various improvements and new features have been added. Our equipped or locked items will be grayed out at the item exchange shop. This prevents you from accidentally selecting a different item with the same name when you do equipment upgrades. This is something that I kind of always really have to be cautious about because, I play so many different classes, and I usually have all these different like fodder materials, or I'm always kind of like building ahead. So I have a bunch of different of these weapon types in here, and so I'm trying to build all these different types of things, or I'm trying to enhance the preset skills or whatever. So I always have all these different weapons. My inventory, my storage is always riddled with all these different types of weapons, and I have had this, I've never had something wrong happen, but I definitely have to focus very strongly on making sure I'm picking the correct thing, when I'm running through this menu. So having this like this, where if it's locked or it's equipped, it's grayed out. I think that this is very, very, very efficient and helps out a lot. So that way it prevents you from accidentally using these things or whatnot with it. And then they also adjusted the item listing order on the list of rewards that appears when you complete a quest. Regardless of rarity, future item drops are listed first. Now it's easier to check augment capsules and valuable material items on the reward screen. This is nice too because a lot of times these enter on at the bottom. And I also believe that there was a point where so much stuff was appearing, and because there were so many things appearing in the inventory, that things were getting knocked out of the inventory. Yeah, pretty sure it was in requests. There were so many things in the treasure pool that stuff was getting knocked out. So by having it like this pretty much prevents all the valuable stuff from that ever happening again, pretty much. But nonetheless, this allows you to kind of see things quickly instead of having to scroll all the way down and look at that. And so that way you know what's there. That way you can just boom, you got this. All right, moving on. Next quest, replay the quest, whatever you want to do. So this is pretty nice. There's also some new cards added to Line Strike. If you're interested in this new skills will also be added. And so you get some OG Phantasy Star pictures here, some OG Phantasy Star characters. So this is pretty cool. Phantasy Star Series, Phantasy Star Zero, and Phantasy Star Online, of course. So there'll be some updates to the lineup of additional card scratch tickets, adding sleeves and mats featuring Phantasy Star Series package illustrations, and direct trades for cards from the third wave, and some 2 new starter decks in the AC shop focusing on the fourth wave cards. There's also some AC scratches here, the Workers Assemble, which I thought was pretty neat. Some of these outfits are pretty neat. Some of them I don't really care for, but nonetheless, I think that these all have some pretty neat additions that you could be interested in. Especially like these lab coats and these police and nurses, right? So I think that this could be pretty interesting if you are interested in these types of stuff. So whatever fits your fancy, right? I do want to quickly note here as well that this first draw is free on the Super Origin Revival here. This AC Scratch starts on the 8th of April. This is going to be free for the first draw. So if you do want to check this out, make sure that you do that first draw. Just see what you get. If you want to keep pulling on it, then of course, by all means, keep pulling on it. But there's a first free draw for this, so definitely take advantage of that. Now, moving on into the second half of April, there's some things in here that are kind of notable, and then other things. It's pretty much just kind of cruising through. But pretty much the season starts in this part. The Origin Festival season starts in this part. So there will be tickets, of course, off the wazoo. There'll be seasonal mobs. There'll be lots of free 10-a-day scratch tickets that you'll be getting from us, hundreds of them. So these are always going to be a fun time to be logging on, to be grabbing on this stuff, and to be really diving into the game. Also, there's going to be LTQ, which is a transport protection, but it is a transport protection with a bunch of bosses. So there's actually, as much as a lot of people don't really like transport protection, this looks kind of interesting because there's a whole bunch of bosses coming at you at once. It looks like it might be fairly aggressive too. So I'm interested in it, at least a little bit. And I'll be looking forward to at least giving it a try for sure. But this is coming up in the second half of April as well, as you can see here. The collab that we'll be getting this time around is the Nijisanji collab, once again, with some new additions, some new mag forms, some new flows, all the above, the usual assortment that you get with these collabs. As you know, we've gotten the Nijisanji collab before a couple of times, so it's a new reiteration of this for some new goods and some new interesting aspects to add to your collection. Speaking of the seasonal, by the way, Xiemi is always looking like a snack, you know what I'm saying? That's what she does, bro. That's what she does. But also within here are going to be some new DEFI Augment capsules. Now, these DEFI Augment capsules are going to pretty much take away from all the other DEFI augments that we've been dealing with. So pretty much just streamlining it. So that way, DEFI augments, boom, you're good, you're done, you're good to go. So these are going to be in the seasonal shop. You can pick these up. It's always pretty much like, okay, you're good, you got these, boom, you're done. All right, you can do whatever dual quest you want to do. No problem, no problemo. You're good, keep it moving. Shop, pippity bop, bop, bop. But these is definitely good for you to note. So that way, if you're looking to do some of these other DEFI, some of these other dual quests, then you have these DEFI augments that you can just use, pop on, and you'll be good across the board. So these are very valuable. There's no reason not to make these, even if you haven't been running the dual quests, because pretty much Masquerader has most of these things from the lower dual quests, but just having this one set, there's no reason not to really have it. So there's no reason not to pick these up. They're in the seasonal shop, so they're free. There's no reason to pick it up and make something for it. There's going to be free units within the seasonal shop as well. So you just use those free units and put it on that, right? Why not? There's also going to be 2 special scratches, as you can see here. So these will kind of coexist, and you can dive into these. Remember, this is going to be seasonal stuff. So they're really kind of diving in with this Origin Festival, the Super Origin Festival. So they're trying to dive in with these double scratches. But also here, there's going to be an LTUQ, which is going to be Falz spam. Falz a bidam. So Falz is going to rotate between 2 falls every day, and these urgent quests are going to have a new scepter augment. So for those who are not familiar, scepter augments are usually used for what? MAJIS. So MAJIS Gigas Maste will be being released here, and we will be seeing that. So as you can see here, if you go into my inventory, scepter, so like these scepters here, these are used to transfer over to get a MAJIS Alpha now or MAJIS Gladia Soul. And the new one will allow you to get the MAJIS Gigas Maste. So that's what you want to be looking forward to there, looking at there. And that will drop exclusively from the LTUQs. Of course, just like last time, this augment in itself can also drop within this LTUQ. So the augment itself can drop in there, and the materials, the scepters, the eagle scepters, also drop in there, which can be exchanged to make them as well. And then starting on the 23rd as well, there will also be a new LTQ limited time quest, and this will be the Suppression Op version 3 Tundra Cleanup Op, and this will rotate between 2 different ones each day. So you will see this 2 different times, 2 different ways, each different day. You might go sway, you might go, hey, oh, what do you say? What you say? What do you say? But nonetheless, you will get these there, and you'll be able to just kind of dive in and flippity flop on these during this LTQ period. So this kind of brings the same spirit of the relay quest, right? So that way it's switching like that, because obviously relay quests are done now, so we're not going to be having them switching over and over as they have been. So this kind of brings back that spirit of that by having them flip-flop. Same thing with the LT urgent quest, honestly, with it flip-flopping as well. So it kind of brings back that same spirit. I also do want to note here that when she spoke about the Alpha Super Origin Festival scratch, apparently it's getting updated, and we can pull
cranked up to 300
scratches out of these, where usually there's a much lower limit on what we can pull here, and this time it's
cranked up to 300.
Yeah, that's pretty freaking massive, as you can see and hear here.
Cranked up to 300. There hasn't been a significant update to the lineup since the 2023 Super Genesis Festival. Until now, we've added new exclusive items, including hairstyles based on Kanui and Faria's looks from the anniversary main visual, and a motion change item that recreates the Rappy Omurice pose.
Now, there was someone who was very upset about Popona here. And as you can see here by this question, very, very, very upset. But they responded. And, for those who are not aware, Popona is graduating. So Popona is leaving And to celebrate, we will be getting some concerts during this time period. So, sometimes we get some unique concerts. So we'll be seeing the Koi Koi, the rare Koi Koi, and we'll be seeing the Popona concert. And as well as this, we will also be getting a keyword. So this keyword can be entered in after seeing the concert. So you need to go to the area whenever the Popona concert is on, and then after the concert, you type this in, and you will get these goodies.
Please say this keyword in-game after watching her movie concert and wish her the best of luck in her future endeavors.
So be sure to keep that in mind. There should be a schedule here whenever these concerts start. There should be a schedule that's released on when they're going to be playing. So they're easy to catch, and there's really no struggle behind it. It's real simple. You're not really going to have a hassle there. You're going to be perfectly fine. You don't need to cry. Stop crying your heart out. Hold on. Don't be scared. Anyways. And now the big boy bummy dummy tummy here is this beautiful beast right here. Lift your heads up, never bow to dark, a gleam of hope that breaks the dark night. Our souls unite with the true stars who sees the dawn. The light is ours to claim, unyielding through all trials. Our strength is forward with new power in hands. This is VAEL with No-M.A.R.S. So someone asked a question, and people have been actually asking this for a long time because, ever since VAEL got released, there's always people who don't like playing with the other gimmicks. So whether it's the Canon and Dalian, whether it's the Mars in general, there's always going to be those people who don't enjoy that stuff, and vice versa. I'm indifferent. I'm all for different ways to play. Plus, I play every class, so I'm always expanding my ways of playing. So I enjoy different ways to play. It doesn't feel maybe if I just played one class, I would be like, well, just let me play my class. I put some stops in my class, but I play every class. So I'm always looking for different ways to play. But nonetheless, VAEL with No-M.A.R.S. And this looks pretty interesting. It looks like a pretty intense fight. Definitely looking forward to this. It looks like a very fun fight. Some new mechanics in here, some new gimmicks in here. This should be enjoyable. We always love these high suppression, quality, difficulty quests. Always love these babies because we all know I love a good challenge. I want to go in there. I want to get it first try, blind run, not knowing any of the mechanics. I want to go in there and just slap it first try. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you want. I don't like looking things up. I don't like having any prior knowledge. I don't like leaks or anything like that. No, I want to go in there and just experience on the fly, react on the fly, and see how good you can get with that. That's what I enjoy. I enjoy stuff like that. And so is my team that I usually run with. So we all enjoy stuff like that. So we'll be looking forward to this fight. We'll know when that comes. We'll have more information on that in the future headlines. But this fight looks super good, super enjoyable. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Ready to slap some freaking VAEL. Ready to slap some freaking miles. Ready to run 8 miles. Mom spaghetti. Oh, and this is in June 2025, by the way, when this guy comes out. Well, one thing that's pretty cool here is that there's a whole big segment here that's really targeting people who are returning, people who are coming back, giving you incentive. They're kind of making it a bit easier for people to come back because, it can always be kind of confusing as well. And I think that they've definitely heard, these free weapons aren't meant to just be used as like one and alls. No. So they're trying to help out here again, which as I do appreciate that they're helping out here again for, returning players or new players or whatnot to kind of help out with this, even though y'all don't need help because it's so easy already and everything's already handed to you. But we get into that. We've gotten to that so many times, so we're not going to linger on that in this video because we already know how I feel about that. Keep giving handouts. Nothing really ever changes because all they expect is more handouts. That's just how it works. Lazy is going to be lazy, and you can't fix that. You can't fix it. By enabling it, you just make it worse. But nonetheless, I do appreciate them doing this, of course, and I think it does help out. Puts people on better playing scales to have Acrocilios, which you should already have anyway because it's so super easy to get, especially with the seasonal shop and stuff. But this is going to help out as well as some equipment enhancement periods, as you can see here. So this will be nice. This will be very nice. And yeah, save up on some Meseta, save up on some materials, and have a higher chance of getting some upgrades on your acrocilios. Oh, baby, baby, baby. That's what we like to see right here. Everyone gets good. If you haven't made an acrocilio, then you can always make one. If you need to make more, then you can always make one. I still got to finish my Braver acrocilio, so I got to make one. So we're definitely going to make one this coming week when this thing is going here, so we can make one, having some fun, because we're making one for the update. Best believe. With that aside, the new collab that's coming in May is Tensura, which is that time I get reincarnated as a slime, a very popular anime that I'm sure all of y'all are enjoyed about coming, and all of y'all are very enjoyed about having as a collab, as that's a pretty popular anime, so I'm sure that all of y'all are really excited for that. Of course, we'll have more information on that in the next headline. And then to close out here, a new segment was introduced, highlighting the music and highlighting the composers, highlighting the writers of the music within the game. So apparently they're going to be adding this new segment within all the forthcoming NGS waves. And I think this is pretty neat. I think a lot of people maybe don't necessarily care about this. However, me being a musical person, I think this is pretty neat to have in here, a little added little bonus, and just something that makes NGS wave kind of unique to itself. But not, like I said, I'm pretty sure most people maybe, well, actually I can't say that. Most people in global probably don't care about it. JP side, maybe more so. But most people in global, I figure, probably don't overly care about that type of stuff too much. But but like I said, from me being a musical person myself, this is pretty neat to have. So I thought that this segment was surprising at the very least, and it's a welcome addition to kind of really make wave its own, right? But nonetheless, circling back around, Pleurodems, which is the new airdems, pretty much is how you should view that, and the legendary series, Yue Hasegawa doing a fabulous job on this freaking NGS headline wave. Smart marketing decision by wearing merchandise. That was good by the whole team there. So that was intentional, 100% intentional. You didn't pick it up, but you may have went and bought you one right after that headline. You were wondering, well, why am I thinking about PSO2 NGS merchandise? Well, they trickled that in without you realizing it. Smart marketing. And then LECIEL analysis area. We're looking forward to that. So remember, this is progressive. So you're not splitting up, you're staying together. All this stuff and more is going to be right at our doorsteps next week. We're looking forward to this very much so. We will be streaming, we will be live. Hop into the channel. Of course, everything's at the same name that you see here, so hop into it on all of it, and we will be enjoying ourselves as we always do. Hopefully you do too. Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? We got some things to do now. At any rate, that's about it for this one. Be sure to like, subscribe, y'all. Let me know down in the comments what you think about the Legendary series, these new weapons, these new EX augments, the Braver update, the new NGS Wave headline experience altogether. Let me know what you think about that, Yue Hasegawa, so. Anything and everything, let me know down below. Flow like a locomotive. Let me stop, bro. This is getting out of hand at this point. At any rate, be sure to like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Much love. Holla.
Spikesu content.